I'm Judi Kirk, and I've been asked to show you how I make these little 5-inch cards ready for sale at Festival of Quilts. So let's get to it. I have various suggestions of things that you might use as the basis for your card. This is a product called Timtex, Timtex, which I use mostly for making cards. This is a similar product called Peltex, Peltex, and for our purposes they're pretty much indistinguishable, except Peltex is somewhat cheaper, so you might want to consider that. There are other alternatives. I have here felt that you could certainly use, but it's softer than these products. You could also use wadding, but again it's going to need some support because it's much softer. And while I was digging around looking for ideas, I came across this, which is just a bit of an experiment really, but it's stitched onto stitch and tear, and that makes a big difference when in terms of how stiff the end product is, so you might want to consider using that as well. So the first thing we need to do is to add our background to our card, and I do that simply by using a glue stick straight onto the Timtex. Notice that I'm going quite carefully around the edges because it's important to me that they stick well, and kind of shine willing with the middle. I would normally iron at this stage in order to dry the glue quickly. At that stage we can now, in a true Blue Peter fashion, we can add to the top any kind of design that we want to use. So I've just bonder webbed a few fabrics, cut them out and added them to the top of my design. At this stage I would now go ahead and sew my card, and I would choose to use straight lines in this situation. So I'm just going to use a piece of masking tape to mark a straight line so that I can stitch it. So here is my little card now stitched and ready for finishing. Here's the look at the back. So there are various choices in terms of what you put on the back. These are things I had around the house. So I've got card, a different kind of card. They're both about the same thickness as a cereal packet, or you could use regular copy paper or fabric, depending on how stiff your card already is. So I've chosen to use this wonderful fluorescent yellow card. So exactly the same method as we did at the start of the card. Just going to glue around the edges, just a bit through the middle, and attach the card. Now I can go ahead and stitch the edge. So I've started with my sewing machine set up on a regular zigzag stitch. It's as wide as it will go on this particular machine, so it's at 5.5, and my stitch length is not that critical, but it's at 1.5. So to edge this card I'm going to use rat tail ribbon, which sounds horrible but looks good. So at the moment I'm starting with the right hand edge of the zigzag, and I'm just bringing it in so that I get a nice neat start on this card. And at this point I'm stitching off of the edge of this rat tail ribbon because the zigzag will draw itself in to so that it brings the ribbon close to the card. I've got the needle down position set up on my machine, and I've stopped with the needle down at the corner so that I can pivot with the needle in my work. I'm choosing to use invisible thread in both the top of my machine and in the bobbin, and it's behaving perfectly well with this rat tail ribbon. And as I hope you can hear, my sewing machine is sewing through this card and all these other bits and pieces perfectly happily. Unlike the wool examples which I showed on the Zoom meeting, this ribbon won't overlap itself terribly well. It's a bit bulky. So I'm just going to trim this ribbon off carefully. So that I can match the ribbon as it joins. I'm now close to where I need to be. Just a quick reverse to finish that off. And we're done. So here's our little card, all finished with its rat tail ribbon edging. And here's the other side so you can see what the back looks like. So this one has card on the back, you've just seen me stitch it. This is the same kind of design, but it has a wool edging and paper on the back. This one also has a rat tail ribbon and it has card on the back. This one, a medium blue yarn finish and the green card that I showed you before as a finish. This one has the dark blue yarn to edge it and it has paper on the back, and this last one has this fluffy edging and fabric on the back. I hope you enjoy making your cards as much as I do.